Taking decision requires to have the capability to understand the situation, to coordinate force, and to evaluate consequence of action. Once we was using maps to identify how to act, for instance, to protect a town versus a potential epidemic crisis. Today we can use computer simulation. In this case, we have a virtual representation. In this virtual representation, we can analyze what will be the consequence of different decisions. So, for instance, let me activate the menu and let me point out that I activate some kind of UAV, and we can now fly, activating the simulation and access the area. Very good. As you can see, we have different units. Some units represent just the checkpoint for police, some military unit that could support, some healthcare. We have individuals behind, and we have someone that is contaminated that is approaching. Now, this is the situation as it's going, but I can do even action. For instance, I can take one of these control unit and move it in a different area in order to make it clear. And then, in addition, where we see that we can even further approach this area, and you can see when this approach, the situation could evolve and we can have contamination. This allows us to see what happened. It's very interesting, the point that if we look around on our town, we can see that all the resources could be available. So now let me check out even another aspect. Let's move back on the crisis. On the crisis, we can see that we have a unit identified over here. But let's make an hypothesis. Let's take the hypothesis that these entities, for instance, now will be lost in the checkpoint and will go through because it was not detected. I can evaluate, for instance, by walking. Let me accelerate a little bit the simulation. You can see that this is the range where the unit can be, and I can make the hypothesis of bicycle, even of car. So I can evaluate what is the risk and how it distributes around. And now this is very important because it allows me to identify what is the best strategy to manage the resource, what is the proper procedure, and what is the more effective way in order to avoid crisis.